Hello everybody, Fred Wagner here, Papa's Painting Tips. Hey, yeah, I haven't been videoing much in the way of artwork because I haven't been painting a whole lot. Some things here and there. But I've been starting this project behind me recently. I did my Maui beach scene not too long ago and just did a slideshow on that. However, I'm working on a scratchboard here, just having some fun, and thought I'd bring it to you. I haven't done too many scratchboards, so I think this is my fourth maybe fifth scratchboard that I've really concentrated on. I decided to do a tiger only because I love the orange colors and contrast against that black background. So most likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a time lapse and see how that goes, or I may just jump, because sitting here watching me scratch for hours and hours on end, it's going to get quite boring for you. For me, it's not so much, because it's actually, I find scratchboarding very calming, very relaxing. But you know, after 2-3 hours of scratching, you get a little bored and tired. Don't let that deter you though. You can get some awesome looking detail and art out of a scratchboard. It's really kind of a fun way of creating. It's almost like white colored pencil on black paper. That kind of idea, except you're using scratching techniques. All right, let me flip the camera here, and I'm going to get a couple of my tools out and show you what I'm using for scratching. Okay, as you see here, I've got a few items. Got an emery board. I stole it from my wife. They're used for fingernails. They're really fine grit. And I'm just using this by placing it down on the board in usually circular motions. I haven't used that a whole lot. I've got here Ampersand's Scratch Kit. All right, this is the pointed nib, and they also have a scalpel nib that can interchange. That's this right here. This is having a heck of a time trying to focus. All right, another thing I'm using is I've got a pen hard eraser with the brush on the end. Something similar to what we all use when we're doing airbrush artwork. This also came with the scratchboard, the Ampersand Scratch Kit, and it's nothing but a fiberglass insert. Inside here, you can adjust how much of the fiberglass sticks out. Be careful, the fiberglass does break off. And then my Germany Euro tool favorite one, this is the one I use the most. Okay, I'll try to get that in focus for you. I use this one. That's again is a fiberglass tip, and you push the little button back here and you can feed your glass rod. See, the glass rod slid right out. The longer you extend it, the more the fibers will spread, giving you more of a fur technique. On the scratchboard, I've been mainly using the edge in a motion like that. Don't worry, I don't care if I scratch up this board. I painted it myself. And this is my go-to. I also have these slice tools. Gonna open this. Don't. Well, that's pretty tight on there. Hold on. Okay. This is a slice tool. It's the same as an X-Acto. It's got a very, I don't know if that'll focus for you. Let's see. Let's get it over here by the camera. You see a little here. I'm gonna move it over here. You can see it better. Little tiny point. This is for real sharp details. Then again here, This is larger, it's got a rounder nib on it, but it's an edge. See how you can scratch just with the edge of that. Okay. Gives you a nice technique. I've got this wire bristle. I don't use this a whole lot because if I got a large fur area that I want real sharp, hard fur detail, I can use this. But this also came with the Ampersand scratch kit. Then I got a Mono Zero, and what I use this for is like on the edge of a bunch of fur, I'll use this to feather it. See, this is a glossy board, so it actually will take it right off of there. But the Mono Zero eraser, the replaceable nibs inside of it. Gets dirty, you can chisel it to a point to get sharp lines. But those are the tools. And then also I can use this pink eraser, pencil eraser, but I don't use that a whole lot. I also have the hard, oh no, that's not it. I'm not sure where it is, but I've got a hard pen eraser. So let's get working on this. There's the tiger that I'm working on. I decided to start with the muzzle down here, work my way up. That way my hand doesn't rub out those others. And I don't keep it on this easel. I will be laying it flat for the artwork. So let's get started scratching for a little while, and then I'll flip it over to Timelapse and let's just watch. Hopefully it'll come out in Timelapse. I'm not sure. I gotta buy a program for my PC and for my phone to edit videos. It's been, I should start a GoFundMe so I can afford it. We're kind of strapped for cash because we just came back from vacation. I don't have the money to buy it yet. So it's like $25 for the phone app and 60 something for the PC program. But a lot of capabilities in there to alter the video. Okay, hope you stick around and watch this as it progresses. I think I got everything set up. It is not easy. I was going to shoot this on a GoPro, but they're not the best for indoor quality. So I figured I'll just keep it on my phone for now. All right, and that's probably good. Well, no. Gotta move the whole easel. Okay. This is insane. I don't know if you really need this or not. I think we're gonna be able to go. Yeah, let's keep it on. Got my little art lamp. I'll probably whack my head into it several times and go, bah. I turn on my iPad, which has my gotta let that load up. Has my my photo that I'm working from. But I wear gloves when I'm working on this because the oils in your hand do get into this. I've taken, this has India ink on it, on the board, and you scratch into India ink, and then if you make mistakes, you can airbrush some more India ink back over it and re-scratch, which is kind of cool, so you can fix your mistakes. However, I had a blob of fixative hit this board right here. Hang on a sec. And every time I tried to photograph anything on it, it ended up looking, it was glossy and it showed up. So what I did was I kept trying to fix that with India ink, but it still showed up. So what I did yesterday is I took some black E'Tac because it's flatter and just sprayed over this side of the board. That's kind of why you see a little bit of difference. But anyways, I'm gonna get my photo open, and in case you're wondering, to transfer the image on here, I used Camera Lucid. It's an app to transfer the drawing onto it. I could draw it out by hand, but on here you make a mistake, you can't just erase it, so it's easier to use something to transfer it. And what I'm doing is I'm taking this Euro tool and I've put indicator marks so I know where certain things are. And what I'm doing is I'll just give a scratch. Kind of like that, to get that to show up where that main is. And I'm scratching a little bit harder there to get further down to the white board, overlapping. I'll brush it off, as you can see, very dirty. But this way I've got my sharpest details, and then I can go in between and I use a lighter stroke, paying attention to the fur direction, just like if we were doing an airbrush painting. And there's different layers of fur on this animal. Gorgeous tiger. Of course, I wouldn't want to meet this tiger in person in the jungle. And in case you're wondering, I got the photo reference off of, I think, Pixabay, Pixel, that are copyright free photos. So I'm not infringing on anybody's personal photography work that they're trying to sell. Now over here on the bridge of the nose, the fur kind of turns upward a little bit. That's why it's so difficult when you paint the nose of an animal like this, because the fur is shorter and it's sticking up. So I'm gonna go back in here because I want that a little more sticking up. I also kind of deadened it out, oversprayed on purpose, so I could bring out a second layer of fur. And you see how there's a difference between the contrast values in there. And don't eliminate all that unless you're gonna completely paint over it with color and then re-scratch it. But if you're gonna do that, you might as well not even do a scratchboard, truthfully. You know, I'm not downplaying scratchboard, but you know, the nicest thing I find with the scratchboard is that background. You don't have to sit there and try to paint the whole thing black, or I can scratch into this and make a background color. Now down the nose it's turning downward, and as you get closer up here between the eyes, it starts to turn up and straight at you. And then as the pattern goes up, it curves and follows that circular pattern we've talked about in the past. So now I'll show you. You could take this little slice tool. It's just like an X-Acto. You could use an X-Acto, but you see this scrapes a lot deeper right off the bat because it's very sharp. It's a ceramic blade in there. That's the advantage of the scratch tools. Now you could do like in the eye. Let's do something here. We've got a highlight over here. So I don't want lines. So I'm literally going to almost do like pointillism. Just little tiny marks. Let's see, let's try to make it a little more like the reference. Because in nature, you're not going to have a perfect hot spot like a lamp. And this is going to be a hot spot. And then there's a softer one. So I don't want to use the hardest tool. Let's soften that up a bit. There's a softer one over here. So we're just gonna kind of make this one. And you probably can't see it, but there are a lot of little glass nib looking things, okay? See? Oh, and don't spit on your drawings like I do. I tend to spit on them by mistake. All right, then down here for the bottom of the eye, I'm gonna get that to a better point real quick. I could cut it or I can stick it in my. I want a smaller tip on this. And this is the hard pen eraser. This part of the video I'm doing more of the instructional. All right. Cut that down to a smaller nib point. And we're just gonna kind of rub to get that open. It's a little tougher. It's still making scratch marks, but they're kind of softer. And the more we rub, the further down on that surface we're gonna get. Then I can take like my Mono 0 and just rub again. And what we can do is, you know, obviously it's probably gonna end up lighter than I want. So we can mist back over it with our other tool or our airbrush colors just to make it a little more realistic. Now here I'm just gonna touch and go. I'm not pulling strokes because I don't want. I'm just bringing out the highest highlights in this. Some of it's experimentation to figure out which works best. You can always go back and correct what you've done. And just bringing out that eye. I can also use the other tool and just stipple it. So basically, I'm almost gonna wipe out this black in this eye anyways, and have this all light so I can put in the color. But this at least gives us, if we're going to leave it all black and white, this gives us a basis to start by. Let's give it a shot. Use this tool, see how this does. Let's open up this highlight a little more. This tool works better for doing line work, truthfully. But I tell you, this Euro tool is my favorite. Let's try this one. Let's see how this does. Yeah, light touch with these ones because they will take the ink off really fast. Now, what we're going to do, I think, I'm not going to worry about over exaggerating this right now. Let's open this highlight right up. Get rid of all that ink in there. The other tool, like we said before, was this one. And to me, I would like to cut it into a point and use it as a point. I don't have anything up here that I can really cut it like that. I'd like to cut it with scissors. But anyways, what we'll try is you can make little circle marks. And what we'll do with the eye, the pupil, because most likely we'll end up mucking that up a little bit. Let's try this. And you can repaint that in with a paintbrush. Paying attention to the iris of that eye. As you see, the eye is starting to come out in that. Let's try something. I can always grab another one of these. Use a knife blade and just try cutting it down. Oh, wow. That's a lot harder in there than I thought. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm just gonna hurt myself is what I'm gonna do. So, experiment with a bunch of different tools and see what you can do. With each one, they all have their little individual characteristics. It's kind of really cool. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm looking kind of underneath at an angle to see what I'm doing. Now up here, it's a lot darker. So I'm not going to take as much off. I'm just lightly rubbing. This definitely takes off a lot less black. I just thought you'd like to see how I do this eye. Yeah, let's go with this side. It's even hard for me to see what I'm doing because it covers up. And I go, oh, whoops, goof that up. Okay, that's pretty good. And now I'll use this tool. I'm just pressing and barely moving because I don't want to draw lines in there. Light's hitting up here, it's coming out down below. And we can open up some of these cones and rods that are in there. texture. Okay, and down here it's not so dark right there. And over here, now I'm using the edge rather than flat down, and it'll draw a line. Okay. Clean this up a little more. And then this one, definitely brighter. You got the shadow from the upper lid up here, so you don't want to eliminate that. There's the eye. Alright, and I think I got glass fiber in my finger because I can feel it poking me. And then over here, this is the brown and flesh, so let's pull that in. Now, I'm going to go the opposite way just to pull a few pieces of fur going into that area to give the illusion that it's growing out of it. And we got a piece of fur going down that way. Because like I said, this comes out and then turns up. Now we can make a lot smoother strokes in here and then pull a few hard ones. And I gotta stop speaking because I keep spitting on the painting. Alright, there's a color change in here, but we still got to make that fur detail. So what we're going to do is just drag a few more strokes, and it starts turning up right about here. See how I'm giving a curve upward, but I'm not using long strokes. And let's see, how far in does this go? This pops out. Yeah, that's about right. And this part here, this comes down in a little bit of an angle this way. Because the turn of that eye socket is coming this way. But that gives you an idea of what's going on. And down here, this is more straight across with a little slight turn down. Don't be afraid to take a lot of that ink out of there, because we're going to go back in with our airbrush paint to smooth that all out. Okay, this is coming. This has got more of a sweep like this. And start to tie that into that metal that I was working on. this little section here that kind of curves like this. It turns up onto the nose, onto that bridge, and then it turns back down into here. And truthfully, this is why I don't mind using that program that I told you about, or the app, to transfer my drawing. Because even I feel like, hey, I'm cheating on this. I'm not drawing it all the way in. I'm not using my full artistic abilities to draw everything out. But you technically are, because you're looking at the patterns and the values, and then you're using that to shape the fur. Yeah, you got a guideline, but I'll tell you, it gets extremely confusing. Like, where am I? Where am I in this? I got it straight up. I'm just pulling some brighter ones. What I can do, where to go? There's this one. I'll use this one. I gotta get outside and pick up my leaves soon. Now see, the other one, there's such fine marks that you don't, it doesn't take all that ink off. So then we can go back in with this sharper tool and pull out brighter hairs. And I'm using the edge of it. I'm not using it like a scalpel. You could. That would give you even finer stroke. I tend to use a little bit of the edge. Just take a lot more down into that clay, because that's what a scratchboard's made out of. It's kaolin clay built up and then painted. All right, and we can come down here. We can hit a couple. Like the edge of his nose is really bright, so we're gonna pull some, just some, and then we're gonna blend it a little more with the scratch brush. I'm just working my way up the edge of that nose, bridge of that nose there. All right. And like I said, I muted it back last night before I shut down. I'm just pulling into it just to feather out some of those harsher marks. And I'm just gonna bring in a few more highlights. And you can take the dust that you're picking up and you can rub it back into it, and you can create some extra detail layers. You know, you're not going to wash that out at all. I don't know if you can see the little pieces of, see, now that nose is not so flat. I don't know if you can see little pieces of India ink that's on this. I personally, I'm guilty of blowing on it, and that's not a good thing, because if you spit on it and you wipe it, India ink, yes, is, once it's dry, it's water fast. It won't rub off, but you gotta use an alcohol solution to get it to wipe off. Okay, well, oh, and by the way, the nose, I also used this and did my little motions that you can see a little black on there. So I'm gonna go into Timelapse now and continue on with this. You see all the glass, but it would be good to have a blower to blow it off. Okay, I'm gonna go into Timelapse and you can continue watching if you like. If not, you can fast forward throughout the video. And let's see, I wanna see how Timelapse works on this, so. Okay, I came out of Timelapse for a second here. You'll notice as I'm going along and scratching in a lot of this fur that I'll stop and I'll touch someplace and then I'll go and then I'll be looking around like I'm searching for something. And what I'm doing is, especially on a tiger, it's very hard to keep the order of these marks. Okay, every tiger's marks are different. So you have some liberty between marks to discover which way it's going. But a lot of times it's very balanced. And in fact, even right here, I've got this mark coming up here. I don't have it the exact shape yet, but you'll notice I'll follow that mark, I'll stop and take a look at it and try to make sure on my reference that I'm on the right mark, because it's very easy to get confused. But you'll see I've got a black mark here that doesn't look quite right, or according to my reference, let's put it that way. So, and I do have a mistake here. Now I could leave it go, I could not even bother with it, but that's just not me. Right now whoa, just smacked my knee into my drawing table. Let me make sure I got everybody in focus here. But what I can do is I'm gonna do a little retouch here. That's one of the nice things I've found with doing this type of art. Now, I would prefer to airbrush this little touch up in rather than use a paintbrush, only because the amount of ink that goes back onto the board, the amount of ink going back on the board can be too thick of a layer. If you noticed, I did a quick little touched up in there. So what I've got here is I've just got a watercolor brush. You can use any brush. And I'm using right here Higgins India ink. I do have touch-up paint also by Ampersand. Let me find the black. All right, this is Scratchbord ink, black repair. Let's use that one. I used Higgins for the other spot. Let's use the one from Ampersand. There's not too much difference. They're both India inks. All right, let's see how I'm gonna do this. I can just squirt some a little bit on my brush tip there. And right in here, I've scratched this mark too far down. And I'm just gonna brush in this marking. Okay, I've got it coming up here, and this one's supposed to go up there. So I'm just painting in. I don't have to be precise detail. See, now this mark here actually is wrong also. Yeah, it's not too far off, because I got a little bit of fur that's in the middle here. Then I got this other, I can actually come back over here. All right, and you can see I just painted in a little bit, and right here, this is a mistake. This scratching isn't supposed to be there. Now, I don't have to be this intricate with this painting because I can make it my own. Like I said, each tiger has its own specific marks. That's how they identify them, truthfully. But anyways, and then up here, I went a little far with my scratch, so I can, that's the center line of his head going up there. And then I'm gonna repaint this in, all right, like that. Then I got this mark, then I got another mark up here. So it gets very, very confusing in here where you're at sometimes. So take your time and follow your marks. But that's why you'll see me go back and forth between different areas, touch and go. I'm also paying attention to, if you see the fur's coming up, it comes around his eyebrow and then it continues up the forehead. Now the center of the forehead goes straight up towards the ears, but as you get over to this side of the eyebrow, it starts turning towards this direction. All right, so I'm paying attention. There's also long hairs in here coming off the ears, so that's why I put these long strokes. But you'll see, and even in here, you'll see in the ear, I did these long strokes and I did some thin ones coming out. This fur in the ear goes a little bit different direction and it's extremely short. And then the back of the ear is black. All right, and then on the back side of the ear, right here, there's actually a little bit of white reflecting, and I got to pay attention to the shape of this. So goof this up and make his ear look funny, but it's quite solid looking. And then when I want to pull down, and what I can do too to soften that is I can take my Euro scratch tool, which is way too short right now, and I can just pull over it and it'll soften that a little bit, because this back here is not highly detailed. It's just whiter. All right. And then in here I can soften this by going over those bigger scratch marks, and it'll soften that. All right. And you see this is pretty much dry in here now. So I can come up here. All right, this one has, this goes round. So I'll bring this up. And then this whole little pattern of clump of fur is more like that. And it makes more sense to the design. these patterns are quite symmetrical in their design, or in their shape and form. And I don't know if you know this, this is just common knowledge that I've picked up over the years doing tigers and that. It's just like on your dog or your cat. The pattern on their fur a lot of times is, if you shave down their fur to where they're bald, you'll see we used to like to call on my little doggy as cow patches. And they were nothing, they're the markings on the flesh. And those relate into the markings on the dog itself. So in here, this is what I was touching on before. I had it. I need these little tufts of, there's like a little bit of brown fur. And a lot of this will make more sense once I start going into my color. It's, so you'll notice, I did this with a thicker white because this part of his head, he's got white here, but this is brown right next to it. So it's not a black marking. So it's very difficult. Even in here, he's got this little black mark that comes up here. But between here and here, this is white, this is brown. So I'm trying to make sure, and even into here, this is just little. I can pull this up, make it finer. I'm trying to get all these little marks, and I'll go back and, like I said, with my airbrush, I'll touch up these spots and I'll go back and forth. I'm just trying to make it easier for me when I get further on. See, there's a couple little spots and that he's got, or she. I'm not sure if this is a female or a male. Pretty sure it's a male. I'm not sure how to tell in the face. It could be a female. Thank goodness I know anatomy enough to look at the other end. Sorry. That's just rude. How rude. But okay. Okay, now that marking looks more like it's supposed to. And in here, the fur is actually, it's not highly detailed. So, I mean, you might have a couple spots that jump out once I do the brown. So I can take this thicker scratch tool and I can come over and I can soften these. And it's just taking out some more of that black. Because if you leave too much black coming through, you're gonna end up with a very dark and somewhat muddy painting in the end. And the fur is not real coarse. It's actually very soft on the tiger looking, that is. I don't know to touch. I've never touched a tiger, and I probably never will, which is cool with me. Maybe once I get to heaven and God will show me all of his creatures that he created, and how fearfully and wonderfully they are made. I got another little spot that was in there. And that's why I was touching up for, so I could pull that out. And then over here, I did a little touch up so I can come back in here and scratch it back a little bit. If it's a tighter situation like this, I can use this smaller tip. Now here's another thing. From below, fur is coming up, going into this black mark, but from above, this black actually overlaps this white. So to get that to look realistic, obviously I could pull my paintbrush up into there, or what I can do is at the bottom of this, pull strokes downward on the top side of that. All right, lessen some of those paintbrush marks so it doesn't look so solid of a mark. And then this side, I pull upwards into the black area because the fur is growing that direction. That way you follow what direction. And if you need some, like, say there's a little bit of whiter fur showing through. Now I'm on the top side, so I want to pull down more. That way. This is the bottom side. Say a couple hairs are highlighted up, so hairs, fur. Okay, you pull up that way. Now, because I've dusted over this, that mark is grayed out, so it's okay. You can make layers that way. You can smudge your dust into. Okay, up in here I got it a little bit goofed up. Say you don't want that a bright white and is not really part of it. So you can take, there's a little bit of black coming up and through here, so I want to, but you can take what you just scratched, come back down into it, and it'll soften it. It pushes that ink back down into the layers. Then you can redefine it, you can smooth it a little more, and if you're just gonna keep it black and white, like a black and white study, you can do that. You can smudge it back in and then come back and touch it all back up. That way if you scratch too deep, you can soften it and gray it back out. All right, I hope those little tips helped. I'm gonna get back to time lapse and do a little more, but you know, we created quite a bit today. I'm just taking this one slow and easy. I don't need to go crazy trying to get everything done right away. I know I put my sneak peek up, or preview. Another thing that would be helpful, truthfully, is, oh, it's snowing outside. Oh my goodness. First snowfall of the year here in Fairport, New York. It's kind of a wet snow. If you've got one of those camera lens cleaners with the little bulb and the brush, you could use that to squeeze air onto it. Or you could use your air compressor and hit it with a little bit of air using your airbrush or whatever. You don't have to brush it off. I tend to brush it off because I don't care right at the moment, at this point in the game, if I've got it soft, because I'm gonna go back in and make a whole lot more details in it as I add my color to this tiger. That's when everything really comes to life on this tiger. But I hope you're enjoying this. I'm gonna go back to time lapse and get some more work done on this, and then probably call it a day today. God bless. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned. Keep going. Stick with me here. Watch it through to the end. Okay, we have all our markings, all our direction of our fur marked in now. It's not exact values because I gotta go over now in color and actually take away even more of the blacks so that my color becomes my main base rather than the black being the main base. But basically what I've done here is I've taken, especially in a spot like this, you got fur that is changing directions drastically, all right? And because of rubbing my hand over it and resting it on it, I've dulled out all the fur and levels. However, that is not such a big deal as you'd think, because what I'm able to do now is mist over with my color in the areas. I can begin to pick out my whites, my oranges, and then my browns so that I know where I'm at. But the base layer of this black and white values gives me that start on where to go with this. Now I could leave it as a black and white scratch board and it would be just fine, because what I would do is what I'm doing right now while I'm talking is just picking out some of the lighter areas to redefine them. All right, so that's basically where I'm at right now. And now the fun part. This is fun. I mean, it's truthfully, it's totally relaxing to sit here and just scratch, 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 scratch. Your mind can go 1,000 different ways while you're doing it. Just especially in here, you gotta pay attention, or else, you know, you mess something up. You can always paint over it and with black India ink, but if you get all your directions in, it helps you pay attention to which way everything's going. Another thing that distracted me a little bit ago was I'm sitting here, I've got my back window right in front of me. I can see the neighbor's yards back across my backyard down. We've got, you know, a rather large backyard comparatively. But there's people doing their leaves outside, doing wind blowers for the condos that are behind me, and all of a sudden I saw a giant fox. Now it was almost the size of a coyote, ran across my backyard, and we are not in wilderness area, but we do get a lot of deer across our backyard and occasionally a fox, and I have never seen a fox this large. He was a big male fox, and he looked almost the size of a small coyote. So, and I know it was a fox. It was a red fox, definitely. The brown legs, the red, the beautiful red body, the long nose, the pointy brown ears. Definitely a fox. I know my foxes. I'm married to one. She's a fox. Well, I hope you're enjoying this. I really thank you for following along. I did, like I said, I did time lapse this time only because it's a lot of scratching and it's going to take time. It's going to be time consuming, and I'll continue on the same way with my colors. I will lay in colors, and I'll come back in and I will scratch out the colors. I've got little dots here. I attempted something that I've never done before with Scratchbord, as I drew out my drawing. Of course you draw a drawing. I did my layout with my white pencil, and I wanted to see if I could throw down a light misting layer of I wanted to do a light misting layer of fixative on top of it, like the Krylon matte finish type thing. I happen to have a can of Save Tea, and bad mistake, because when I sprayed it, I had disaster happen, of course. It spit. It had little gummy droplets collect on the spray tip, and bam, I shot it on my scratch boards. And so you probably won't notice, but once in a while you'll see a droplet, kind of a round spot, come up in the fur. In fact, here's one right here. It's perfectly round, and that's because there's a lot of fixative that laid down in that area. But praise the Lord, I can scratch right through that, and you can't even tell. It's gone. Boom. Simple as that. Okay, God bless y'all, and let's continue on with this video. I know it's probably gonna be on the longer side, but not as long as my full length because of doing time lapse. So next up, color. Woohoo! Excited. Okay, we are ready to do the color. I had to brighten up the nose because with my hand laying on it and rubbing across it, I was getting a lot. It was muted out. And I went to spray a little color just to test, and it wasn't bright enough coloring. So what I got here is I got E'Tac EFX paint inside my custom Micron SB. I've mixed up a little bit. The nose is a little more brown than the rest of the tiger. Also, this is supposed to be a dark scene. So, normally I don't paint with my board down. But for this, I've got my cup tilted so I don't spill my paint. And I'm just gonna try to be conscious. I've mixed up some orange and yellow, some yellow ochre and red ochre for the nose. And I'm just gonna take a mist over this, where before it wasn't. Okay, I don't know how well you're seeing this. And I can pretty much go over all of this because I'm gonna scratch back into that part. And I can start going up on the bridge of the nose. One thing that's a little bit nice about scratchboarding is you can, and clayboard in particular, you can go back in, and if you've covered up white, which I'm not real worried about at this stage, you can go back in and scratch that white right back where it was. So just getting a fairly good coat on here for a first layer. Okay, then we're going to do a couple layers this way, and it'll also open up. Let's get a fairly good layer on there, actually, not so transparent. And then in here, right down there, has a lot more orange. And yeah, all right, that's how we're gonna start with that. Let's go a little darker here, and I'm gonna add some browns into this to tint it. Probably some brown ochre. I could use dark brown, but I want to save the dark browns for later. I'm airbrushing at 30 psi with E'Tac EFX. I know people wanted me to use inks, but like I said, I don't care how inks come through. And they're just very hard to clean out, and they tip dry real fast. So we're just gonna go back into this, and we're gonna pick up our highlights and pay attention. And we're doing very small strokes, really. I could almost stand to go for using the got some highlights. I could almost stand to go for using my what do you call it, slice tools and my X-Acto blades at this point for this part. And it's long and tedious work doing this part. Now I don't want to take all of it off, obviously. I'm just doing the really highlighted areas. And also I'm going to avoid rubbing with my hand. Just open up these. What you'll notice, what I'll do is I'll do a couple layers on this. See how that's coming back to white. And what I should do is I could use a hairdryer even to blow the dust off. In here, it's very, very small, intricate marks. We're going to do this several times. Build up almost to make an opaque layer underneath. And we're paying attention to the direction as well. Now, I don't mind going over actually this whole thing and making these little marks. You know what? I just had a brainstorm. I've got the airbrush. What do I need a blower for? I got pumped in air. How do you like that? Alright, I'm just gonna redo. And I'm trying not to hit on the same spots. Okay, I'm turning my stroke upwards. Like this. And this is how we build realistic fur. And in here I overlapped here, so I gotta take out quite a bit of this orange. Oh, I just caught myself. Look at what I did. You know, leave it to me to do what I tell you not to do. Yeah, well, life goes on, right? I just want to get some more of this cleaned up. But I'm not even going to bring out the extreme white highlights yet. That we can do later. Just getting my layered texture of the fur. Some of this black will come through, and that's good because it'll add foreshadowing in between the fur. And I'm probably going to put my brown into my HPB. And use the HPB to get my mid-tone. So I'm essentially re-scratching everything. But now I've got color coming into play. Sorry for my delay. I'm paying attention, so I'm trying to think of what I'm doing here and where I'm at in this drawing or painting. Now I will go back and just start time-lapsing in a few minutes. I'm not gonna make you watch everything I'm doing for the color, because it's all basically gonna be all this. I'll do the eye in a little while. I don't know if I'll even get to the eye today per se. But it's beginning to even pull up the dimension on this again. He's got a lighter spot in here, but we're gonna concentrate on that in a few minutes. Right now we're just getting a couple layers of this in. I'm using very, very short strokes because the texture on the nose is very much short for sticking nearly straight up. Oh, bloody. And this is a long, long process doing this part. Now you could say, hey, why didn't you just do a regular clayboard then if you're gonna take the time to take almost all of that black out of there? And yes and no, I could do that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to take advantage of the black that's already down so I don't have to paint my markings, and I can get these dark spots underneath to get the texture of the black in there. There's a slight advantage. And I know a lot of people ask me, why don't you just leave it as is, beautiful as a black and white? And yeah, I could have, but I love the color of the tiger's fur, the orange and browns, and the ochres. All right, that's looking good. And I'm playing the same directions in here that I did before. Okay. And in here we got this this is where it's turning around the nose. And we got this little triangle spot. Don't want to lose that. Okay. Some of it I'm going to leave a little bit less scratching. Because it doesn't need all. You want some of the fur to be smooth. That way you're getting into like a 35mm focus where some of it's in real sharp detail and some of it's a lot less. Now I could even overlay some inks onto this if I want. That'll give me even brighter texture, I may do that. It all depends. Let's see. I'm just gonna spray for air and take that. It's hard working with gloves on. Taking my nose cap off. All right, right now I'm just taking off some of that black dust because I don't want that mixing in. I'm gonna mist over this again. I'm not gonna hit as much of this with this color because I'm just gonna scratch it right back off, so that would be kind of redundant. I'm just building up a more opaque layer. All right. And as you see, that comes up a little bit more saturated with color. So now I'm gonna go back in and now just pick out the highlighted areas. I could do another layer if I wanted to, but I don't think I want to. Let's pick out this little highlight on the nose. Again, get a little bit like that. And we're brighter over here. All the way up this side of the nose. Which is nice because it gives a good contrast. Like we got light coming in this direction, hitting our tiger here. Okay, and we got some lighter spots over here. Now we're paying a lot more attention to where the little highlights are. I don't know if I'm gonna go as brown as my references on this nose. I think I like them a little bit lighter. Not sure how much this is transferring over. I'm gonna go one more layer, I think. And over here. Okay, the bottom of that. It is not. This is all orange. This stays white. What we will need to do in that area, I'm gonna have to put some darks back into that. I can do that with browns and blacks to recreate that, because I've kind of nullified it. Okay, how's that looking on that camera? I can't even tell. Let's take a look back here. Just blowing that off. Let's give another dusting. I'm just leaving the cap on again. I don't care. I'm not pulling fine lines right now. Okay. Just lightly misting spots. Let's get out that HPB and we'll put some brown into it. Maybe I'll even take my original orange mixture. Oop, that was a goof. Oh well. That was stupid of me. Alright, we're gonna take, I think what we'll do, let's do 1 drop of the orange, and we're gonna take and put in burnt umber. We're gonna do some burnt umber in here, and with my orange mixture. I don't want it real dark. And I want it quite transparent, so I'm going to add some transparent base to it. Because I don't want to be drawing the lines, per se. And I think this will be a good shading. We could pop back and forth. Okay, let's try this. I think this will be a good idea. All right. Same PSI. I'm just kind of dotting it. Not even. And he's got a darker area up in here. not covering. I'm just texturing. Now this little, let's see, under here, this gets darker. You're probably having trouble seeing what I'm doing. I'm putting darker in here, and he's got along the side of his nose, he's got some shadowing going on. So this all stays shadowed. So that builds up that shape of the nose going up. Okay. Let's see, how far down does this come? I gotta compare. This kind of he's got another area here. It's a little bit darker. Okay, and then on tip of his nose. Bridge, he's got a little shadow going on in here. Let's see. Let's mist it into here because we're going to open that back up. That's white, but I'm going to use this. It's my advantage. There's a reason for that. It's not a mistake. He's got a darker spot right here. Along with these. Okay. Looking pretty good. Telling you, this bee can do some incredible detail. The only thing I don't like about the bee is the trigger position. It's a lot more comfortable with the SB. So I tend to get cramps in my hand when I use this. And this comes down. We can open this back up. Hey, looking sweet. I'm thinking some of these can be like battle scars when he's had a fight. Let's get a little more shadowing in here, and then we'll open it back up and put some orange back in there again. Okay. Not doing too bad. I'm just doing little marks. And we'll mist back over with the lighter, because we don't want these white. Let's see, we've got coming down from here right about here. He's got a little bit of white popping through. And then that I don't want it open. I'm just gonna open some of this up. Then we'll hit with the orange. Here. And see how it goes right back down to the white. So I wasn't concerned. Let's get this scratch brush before I forget. Let's do it with the mini one. We'll open up. Let's see, these about. We'll do it right in there. Right here. See, when I'm concentrating, I get real quiet. you're not doing it right, why are you doing realism? Now there might be quicker ways to go about getting where I'm trying to get. But great art and realism takes a lot of determination and practice and time. Very time consuming. Now in here it's kind of faded, so I'm gonna use this real lightly. And then we're gonna knock it back again to give it more lifelike. Looking good from my neighborhood. I don't know about yours. And then this, let's open this back up to white. Leave a little shadow underneath. Spray some of that dust off. And let's see, where do we gotta go here? What we're going to do is we're just going to mist over this in a minute. Knock some of these back and only open up a couple white here and there. Down here, that's that little white hot spot I was talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So how's it looking on your end of town? Now, I'm not saying everybody does what I do or follows my methods. I've had to teach myself these methods on my own. I have not been able to afford to go do a class with anyone. So I've just watched what others have done and played from there. You know, finding what worked for me. And I don't know. I hope it's worked. I appreciate all the kind compliments. I hope I've helped some people learn over the years. I'm continually learning. I don't usually ask for donations or charge. That I leave up to your heart and Holy Spirit to guide you. Okay, let's see. We gotta pay attention here because I got a couple things going on in this area and I don't want to screw them up. I don't want to repaint everything. Okay. Kind of like that. All right. Give it a little mist here. How much we got in there? This can go a little darker over here now. And like I said, I'm going to make this guy a little darker than in my reference. Let's carry this up. Get the gist. Take advantage of the paint in there. We can go back in later and doctor this all up. That's real light up in here. Alright. So a little bit of orange getting down into here. There's some orange though coming around. We can knock it back. Alright. And he's got a little bit of orange popping out behind there. And just a little bit of misting on top of that eyebrow. So, let's see. What do we got here? What do we got? Let's take... Let's open up real lightly to bring this white back again. Right down along the nose edge. I see something. I see something I gotta fix, because this is darker. That's what's goofing me up here. That is darker orange. Going all the way up into there. Okay, there we go. That looks better. And then we got some more orange here. And a little more right here. I keep going to pick up the slice cap to put it on the end of my airbrush. Oh, what a goofy. Now I'm just putting real light white strands mixed into here. And I think I got a little squirrel jumping around outside my door. I keep having the motion detector go off. Let's drag these into here. That's all nice and white. Got a couple little white pieces of fur going there. I got a bump here, and this bump ain't that pronounced. So I'm gonna have to knock that back with black later. And alright. I want to go in with some brown in here to redefine that. And then I might close it up for myself for today. See, I got a lot of brown in there, which is good. I got definite one advantage to laying it down like this. Hope my head's not in the way. Shouldn't be. A little bit in here. Then under here, I want to get rid of it. It's just, this is where the I'm doing very, very fine airlines. I probably need some blue in here, into this area. We got a little bit of tip dry going on. And this is, I don't want to show you over it. I think that you can see this. I take a Q-tip, moistened with water, hollow bodied, put it on the end, give a twist, clean. Clean as a whistle. Okay. Just getting a little bit darker. How far up does this go? I gotta make sure here. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't turn my air off. I keep my air flowing. If I do turn it off, I'm pointing away and I've stopped my paint. Let's see, this is getting confusing to me. I need this going up. And then this has got to come on top. Then he's got little marking going up this way. Okay, and shadowing this side. To curl that under. And then, I'm not sure what I want to do here. And he's got, see, coming off of there. This is right here. The shadowy area. And kind of bleeds down this way. And let's see, this comes off of here. So this actually, that's what's scooping me up, is right here. It's this spot. Kind of like that. this comes up on his nose a little higher. Putting all these little dark details in now is what I'm doing. And as you can tell, that's my compressor running in the background. Doesn't run for long. It's a 1-horse motor on an 8-gallon air supply tank. And it's a California air tool. I chose the 8-gallon tank because once it's full, it stays quite a while. Gotta come this side. I gotta do some work in here. I can see where I've errored out. But no one knows it but me. I like to call this detailing the fur. And what you're doing is you're going in between lighter areas and darker, and then you're putting the shadow between, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of practice, but the end result is way better in my books. Come back here. All right. Okay, let's see. What do I want to do in here? I'm gonna bring out a little more light. Just a little. Maybe a couple little spots in here. I'm just touching it to take off. Let's turn it up this way. Hope you're enjoying this. I am. I always have. I remember way back when I started doing t-shirt work. And I was seeing in the one Airbrush step-by-step guide for t-shirts that they put out. This was like, they made that in '84, just before I moved to Florida to Airbrush. And I was looking at the tigers that E'Tac had done, and I'm like, man, how does he do it? It's just phenomenal. How does that man paint that? And I determined then I would teach myself some method that I could do the same, that I could produce that type of quality work in a realistic tiger. This is a long session. But I wanted to give you a really clear detail look at how much work you gotta do if you want it looking good. We'll do the eye. Maybe I'll do the eye tomorrow. I'm getting tired. It's been a long morning for me, day so far. And like I said, over here, I got a little bit of, see, there's black in here. There's black markings, but there's also quite a bit of orange and white fur. This is white. That's orange in there. See, around this eye socket, the fur starts to turn all the way around till it gets back up towards the eye. Starting to build that out now. We'll do a couple layers in here too, believe it or not. Lots and lots to do. Who knows? Maybe someone will bless me by wanting to buy this. My funds are short, just like everybody else's this time of year. But, you know, God provides, always does. Always does. I mean, I haven't stopped painting, have I? Nope, not at all. Let's take a look here. Looking good. Go back to my orange. I need a little orange. Okay. Hit this back. Again in here. Up on its cheek. I'm not worried if I get it in to the eye. There's a little mist of orange under here. And how about on the nose? Maybe we'll dust that just a hair. Beautiful. Looking good. And come back in and just to clean this up a little. Now, if this were a t-shirt, I'd be painting all these whites and strokes instead of scratching them. Hope you're enjoying this. Now you can see what it takes to build those layers. Now everyone that has asked and mentioned leave it as is. It looks good as a black and white. Looks like a black and white photo. What do you think now? Now I've only put 2 colors into this so far. The orange that I pre-mixed, the tiger orange, I should say. The tiger orange and the brown. Sorry. I was debating in my mind where I wanted to go at the moment, if I wanted to keep going up. The more I get done today, the less I gotta do tomorrow, you know? You know how it is. And once I get started, I can't draw myself away sometimes. It's just me. Just me, the way I am. Okay. Let's see, where were we down here? I do jump around. I find for myself, it gives me an overall sense of value. So I've got things pretty much matchy. Okay, let's go back with my orange right there. Give a little spray, get rid of the dust. So I'm not just painting down the dust. And I want to cover up my work in there. Okay, and let's maybe, whoa, I've unscrewed that all the way. Ooh, ooh. Let's just give a, hey, get on there. We'll do a little bit of drown. A little bit of brown in here, and get this a little more defined. Let's see, I got could almost turn this pressure up on this brush. Burnt umber, I have found, has a tendency, for me at least, I don't know about you, to tip dry more than some colors. I don't know if anybody else has, oh, where did my other, I don't know where my Q-tip went. But burnt umber mixed into a color. I don't know why. I've had it with a couple of different paints do it to me, where it's, there we go, now it's flowing right. Okay, and we got a little bit of burnt umber under there, maybe a little shadowing it back here. I can find detail after detail after detail to keep building. And it begins to get to the point where you're going, how much more do I really want to invest in that right there? You know? Don't you know? Now you gotta be careful because you can saturate the board at some point, and then I don't know if I call it blowing out the paint. Alright, let's see. Let's do this here. Because that actually shadows back in. I see a discrepancy in my work right here. Because this now actually comes like this. And then we got this here. And this is coming down here. A little more detail in the nose. The nose, it always knows. Give this a mist. Knock it back, because it's not bright white. Actually can curve that out a little bit more. Like that. And this comes up more like that. Put a little orange in there. And then we'll go back with a little more brown. That's just to color that back. Now let's give it the brown. Just to tint it. I oversaturated that a little bit. Shame on me. Let's hit that with some orange. And bring this down a little more in here. A little more orange up in here onto this side. Alright, that's gonna be it for today, I think. I'm just gonna make this draw out too much. So there we are for today. And I'll be back. You won't notice the difference. Okay. Thank you for joining. Okay. I am back. And for you, it didn't seem like nothing. For me, it was a day. But setting back up for today's fun. And I think what we're gonna do today is we're gonna put in that eye, maybe do a little work on the nose and the chin, but most of all, I am going to go into time lapse in just a little bit and continue that way, because most of the teaching that I can do for you is already done. So for the eye, I did notice something just now as I was getting prepared. And what I noticed, is I don't have this eye nice and round. I'm kind of just a little bit off for that lens. All right, that looks better. And I'm gonna open up a little bit of this. Now, yeah. And you'll notice I got a little overspray in there, which is fine because actually I'm gonna use yellow ochre in the eye itself. Over here, it's a little bit brighter too. I had it a little bit too shaded. All right, there, that looks better for the eye. And I'm lightening this up a little bit more around the edge, because the lens, not sure what the outer part's called, I can't remember. I mean, pupil, the cornea with the rods and cones, and then no, the cornea is, because if you get a scratched cornea, that's the soft, transparent part of the eye, if I'm remembering correctly. So what happens is the light's coming in from here. This is the main part that it's hitting. And then it reflects out the opposite side of the eye. So that would mean this bottom and back here would be a little bit brighter. Alright, I think that's better. And up top you got the shadow from this eyebrow onto that, so I don't have to make that any brighter. And in here, this is gonna be more green. Let's open this up a little more, just to get it a little bit brighter. I don't want a very muddy looking eye. Okay, that's probably good. So, excuse me. What I think I will do for the eye, first I want to put some yellow in, but I'm not going to use pure yellow. I mean, I could use this pure yellow E'Tac. I could use the India ink pure yellow. I just had a glass fiber in my hand. Be careful, let me warn you, when you're working with these scratch pens. And here's the Ampersand Scratchbord ink. I could use this too, but this is just harder to clear out of the bottle or out of the cup of the airbrush. This I would more likely just use a paintbrush and dilute it a lot with water. So it's only for the sake of convenience of washing it out. It's the only reason. I mean, I may do some line work with a brush and use the Ampersand ink for that. And like I said, I'm not gonna use this pure yellow because that's not what it's like in nature. So what I'm gonna use is the golden ochre, which when you spray it in a transparent, it looks quite yellow in comparison. I think it'll blend better in here, and I can touch it in a few other spots. So what I'm doing is I put a couple drops of water. I don't need 100%. So I'm gonna put, I don't need a lot, so I'm gonna put 2 drops of water. Give my yellow ochre a good shake. And I'm using my micron again today. I may use the B as well. And I'm gonna put 50 to 50. So I'm gonna put 2 drops water, 2 drops yellow ochre, or golden ochre. I say yellow, it's yellow to me. And then a little tip here. After you get done, wipe your bottle top off. All right. Another thing, after each paint session, pull this all apart and clean that out, because you get dry paint up in there, you know, especially at the end of your painting. It can dry up and clog your airbrush with little particles of paint. So I keep my little rag over here to the side that I can spray onto when I got to open up the tip. And there goes, you know who. See, I got to interrupt when I'm talking. But anyways, I keep a Q-tip for my water, for doing any tip dry, which I had with E'Tac. I hate to say it, but over all the other brands of airbrush paints I've ever used, E'Tac has been the best with with virtually, I can't say no tip dry, but virtually no tip dry. And the advantage is you don't need solvents to work with it. Pardon me. Okay. And I still got my compressor up at 30 PSI for spraying. I'm just gonna mist a little in here. Of course, it's gonna dust over this highlights. The other one's already dusted over. I'm gonna clean those back out and come back in with a secondary color. Get my air started away from the board. And, all right. That's probably enough yellow for this eye. I don't see a need for more. So, this is what I'm gonna do for my green. I don't want a real heavy green. So, it almost seems useless to put that little bit of yellow ochre. I'll tell you, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep that yellow ochre in here. And I'm gonna grab my B and I'm gonna mix. I'm gonna take a little green. Pardon me. Every morning I deal with this congestion from my apnea machine. Getting old blows. Okay, I can't remember if I've got a pre-mixed green in here. No, I am not seeing a pre-mixed green. Well, I do. Actually, I lied. I got this green, but it's more of a forest green. Kind of real dark. I don't think I'm just deciding whether I want to do this green or if I want to take and mix a blue and a yellow, make a green. Yeah, I think I want to do that. So I'm going to take this ultramarine blue. Excuse me, my goodness. And this is gonna, blue is very overpowering. Gonna put 3 small drops of blue in my cup. Get paint all over myself. Yeah, when the pressure outside is building because of a front coming through. Now I will use this yellow. Here's another tip I've got. When you open these bottles, when the barometric pressure is rising outside and you got cold front or warm front coming through, I always like to take and put my cloth over the top of it. That way it doesn't spill out, get all over my hands. I'm gonna put a couple drops of that yellow in. A lot of people back flush in their brush. I do not. I tend to very seldom do I ever back flush, because what it does is it pushes paint up into the packing bearing at the back side of the needle. So I'm going to give that a little mix. Get my nice bright green, maybe a little more. I think I might need a little more blue. Yeah, I gotta go a little more blue. That's too intense of a green. I've got almost a lime green going on here. So let's put another drop of blue. A lot of times I will write down, if I've got a large area coverage and I'm gonna need to mix paints over a couple days, I will write down as I go. You know what? Wow, that's still too green. I don't want that much green because it's gonna mix on my board anyways. Well, you know what? Heck with it. I can always go back. Now I'm gonna take, I got my green mixed in here. I'm gonna spray this out, get rid of it. Then I'm gonna put just transparent base into there, and it's gonna become pastel. I don't mix that transparent with the residue in there. Oop. There we go. So I'm gonna spray that out. Yes, it's a waste of paint, but hey, this paint goes quite a long ways. Let's see. Okay, see, it's empty in there. Hope it focuses. So now I'm gonna take this transparent base, reducer base, same thing. What it is this is the carrying agent for the pigments. So there's just no pigment in it. And I'm going to put about 5-6 drops, maybe a little more, because I only need a small amount. I'm not gonna mix this. It's picking up the color that's already in the brush. And now I'm going to it's very pastel-y. I may even just do the blue too. Just on the inside of that eye. I want to keep the yellow on the out. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna need to do that with actual blue. So I'm gonna spray this out. Really don't need my gloves on because I am not touching the painting at all. I'm gonna spray this out. I'm gonna put some blue in, a couple drops of blue in there. Spray that out. Almost gone. With 30 PSI, it takes a little bit. Because I'm gonna need that blue anyways for another area. Let's give this a little bit of a rinse of water. What I do is I turn my brush on its side. I just spray in some water out of a bottle I've got it in. I use distilled water, by the way. I do not use tap water. It's best to keep the hard metals and alright, there we go. Alright, fairly clean. Comes out with water. So I'm gonna put my blue in there. My ultramarine blue. Or do I want to use... You know what? I'm gonna use this blue instead. Thicillion. You can say it. I can't. I'm bad at these big long words. I'm gonna use that blue. This is an older bottle. This is another color that I've struggled with in the past. The pigment size must be larger. If I could find it in a hue rather than a pure pigment, I would probably go with that. All right, 2 drops of that. Spray that out. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing and put that transparent, the base, and a fair amount of it, because I'm gonna be using this in another area. Give it a little spray, get it through. Let's make sure it's, all right, we got a nice blue going on. Very pastel blue. All right. Another thing I was just thinking of before I go and do it, because I need this blue also in this dot on the eye. So let's clean this back out. This is a reflection of the sky, or the other a little bit more direct lighting. So, okay, let's get the blue sections of this eye. And I'm gonna be a little more particular how I spray it. And there we go, boo boo. All right. This is probably good. Let's, what I should have probably done is, I'm just gonna clean this out a little bit. I went a little heavy on the one dot. Okay. Okay, let's see. And I just need to mist. I gotta watch my cord onto that little highlight. And then we don't need a lot. Okay. We're gonna do, now I do need the glove on because I'm gonna probably rest my hand a little bit on this. Let's clean out this bottom of that white highlight. Like so. All these little things matter. You know, if you're particular like me, clean out this other one a little more. And let's see. Well, I'm not going to clean that out yet. There's a reason, and you'll see in a second. All right. And around this pupil, it's a little bit brighter. It's not a solid line. I need something a little bit finer to do this. I don't want to scratch it horribly. So I'm going very light touch. Around that pupil. Pardon me. Now I need a little bit of yesterday's brown. And this kind of saddens me, because I don't want to get rid of the yellow ochre in there, but I need it. What I did yesterday is I saved that brown in a cup. I got a bunch of shot glasses, so let's spray out what's in here. And we're just gonna put this brown. If you go from light colors to darker, you'll be okay. You'll be safe. It'll overpower it. Put that brown in my micron. It's an orange actually. And I think I'm gonna darken this because I'm gonna darken this with some burnt umber. I want to put blue in there because then it'll be a brownish green. Put 2 drops of the burnt umber. I want this to be somewhat thin, so let's add 2 drops of water and reduce it a lot more. I reduce most of my paints. You could paint straight. You know what? Let's throw a little bit of transparent, the reducer base into it. Let's make it a nice transparent brown. The amount that I'm putting down on this is minuscule. And truthfully, it's probably not even needed. But you'll see what where I'm gonna put it. Okay. There should be a little left in there. And it's right, I'm gonna paint actually on the black. Just along this edge of the eye. Like so. It's just to tint it a little bit. There's actually, now that I got this in here, there's a little bit of brown sneaking through. On the edge there. Take advantage of it being in the brush. I'm gonna put a little over here. The corner of that eye to knock that back. Nice shadowing under there. Probably could use a little more. Knock that back. That's better. And now I want to come back here, redefine that little, just picking at it, leaving a bit of the brown. We don't want a perfect line. And maybe just a little sparkle down here. Okay. Let's clean this once again. In here, I got a couple hairs showing through, catching the light. brighten this. And this top edge. So overspray gets on that, so you can go back in and scratch. That's one of the things I love about working with clayboard. If I'm working with a t-shirt, I gotta paint that white back in. Then I deal going back and forth with overspray because, you know, hey, with an airbrush, it shoots. All right, we got that. Okay, I'm liking that. And we maybe pick out a couple highlights down here. I just heard a hawk outside. That screech. Oh, now I'm just putting a little more scratches. Just bringing out the white on this outer. Believe me, I do a lot of reworking areas, and it may seem so tedious and boring, but the end results are much higher detailed fur. So that eye is pretty good. That's right about what I want. I like that. I'm gonna go back and use that really light transparent blue now. And I'll show you what I'm gonna do with this. Making sure it's spraying. I'm just gonna mist some of this blue on the white. Especially the shadowed areas. All right, and now down in the chin area, I'm gonna mist this all with just a light blue. I'm not gonna go over the browns because I don't want green. I can always go later with some more. Just get in here, and this is gonna make a big difference in this jaw. Go over onto this. And I'm gonna spray these white areas, because this is gonna become our shadow color. Shadows on white are blue. They are not gray or brown. They're blue. Put a little blue here. And again, we'll mist over these lower hairs of the chin. And we want to make sure we pay attention to the depth. Okay, now those are all blue. We can maybe even put a little blue back into here, underneath there. And if you spray it on the brown itself, it makes it darker. So you get a closer to a black. This is actually deeper in here. I work back and forth a lot of times. So I'm going to take that brown that I was using and go back in here and hit right on top of those blues that I just put in. Alright. And then I've got down here on this, I'm going to put, there's a little bit of browns and yellows coming into here. So we're going to put a little brown around there, a little brown around there. There's some browns in here. And then that already had brown in there. All right, now, stomach's a little off today. Now we're gonna come back in with our scratch brush. I'm gonna use the side of it. Yeah, I could do. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take these that have been knocked back quite a bit. Actually, you know what? I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this heavier slice tool. And these are a little more pronounced whiskers and white hairs. I'm gonna go over these. Not real long. The hair in here is not real long. Up there it's more brown. So I gotta rework this area with a little bit of brown and yellow. But we're just gonna pull out a layer. We can do quite a few. Always paying attention to that direction. You can always spin the board, whatever's most comfortable to get the most accurate. And these are going to stand out quite a bit, so we're going to have to knock them back again. But the more times you do that, the more realistic and layered the fur becomes. And this is actually turning around the curve of the muzzle. We can put a few in here. A couple up in here, and we'll dust over that with the brownish yellow. In here it's real short because the direction of his muzzle is turned away from us. This becomes almost a line. It's so tiny. Detail put back in here. You want it realistic. You don't want any guesswork. This is turning around to go up to the nose. careful moving my foot under there. This needs a lot more short, low fur. Oh. This gets a little confusing in here because you got that coming off of there, but it's turning immediately. And we'll put a little into here. Okay. You can decide on your painting, you know, how much detail you really want to stick in there, how much work you want to do on it. It's all up to you. It's your artwork. And truthfully, it doesn't have to look like a photograph if you don't want it to. You can keep it a little more impressionistic. And we'll work in here. I just wanted to give you an idea of what I'm doing. And how I build this. And believe me, it makes a difference in the jaw, especially. You don't want just a blur of flat looking layers of fur. You really want to take your time in here, do it right. For me, there's nothing better than the compliment of, holy cow, that looks like a photograph. Or, that's not a painting, that's a photograph. I always love to hear that. That means I've done what I wanted to do effectively. Not that I'm looking and seeking glory for myself. I give all the praise and honor and glory to Jesus, the Lord and Savior. Without Him, I could do none of this. It's through Him I have my talent, my skills. And if I use it for His glory, He'll honor me. At the end, with the crown of glory. See, I got a boo-boo in here. This is the lower one. So this actually comes down more. I gotta put back in some black into this. Touch that back up. Now again up here, got a little more in between the dot, in between his little markings here. I'm gonna take that out a little more precise. And I'll work in some of that brown, some of that yellow. Now it looks more like my reference. This one's turning out this way. Alright, and we're gonna just scratch a couple more here, just to create a little more depth. And around here, this is brighter, so. And it kind of fades back right there, so we really don't have to go into there. Okay. I'm just gonna scratch some into here. Change the angle of my hand. Get some more into here. And this works up here. Just pulling these marks, or these. Okay, like that. And then we can add a little more into here. You may be wondering how I'm making dagger marks with a rounded edge of a blade, and what I'm actually doing is I'm laying it on the side, I'm not laying it on the tip, and just scratching back and forth. Alright, so that's a good start, and we're going to go back to that blue. Give a spray, make sure it's spraying still. We're gonna dust over this and get rid of all that dust first. Okay, now we're gonna dust over with a little bit of blue. And yes, it's knocking back everything we just scratched, but gonna make a difference. Okay, we got that blue back in there. Now let's take the brown. Now remember, that's just a transparent base. That's how nice and strong that can be with that blue in there. We're gonna take our dark. Oop. Maybe we will. I think there's more in here. Let's make sure. Yeah, we still got some in there, even though it's not noticeable. And we're just gonna do some line work now. I'm gonna bring this, because there's a lot of brown below these markings. Shade the top. And truthfully, we're just some mist over here. This shadowed area here can be a little darker. Okay. And we got this shadow coming up here. And then under here to get the shape of this corner of his mouth better. Like so. And then this brown can come out a little more here. And a little more up here. I gotta mix a little more of this color. But it's looking good to me. I can knock back the top edge of this. Like so. Now, while I got this all in here, I'm gonna put a little bit of brown into this nose for shadowing. I'm gonna go in with some red on his nose. Told you I was gonna do the nose. And down here's a lot more brown. Let's open up that nose a little. And what I did with this in here, let's clean this up a little bit, make it a little bit brighter. Not a lot. I don't want a Rudolph situation. Bright, shiny red nose. Rudolph, what's your nose so bright? I got a serious problem. Alright. And then a little more to the front side. Just gonna dust this with a little bit of color. We're not gonna do a whole lot. There's no need to on this. Alright, and open up this a little more. Now we're gonna take that. Let's we're gonna do red ochre on his nose, I think. I think a red ochre will be nice. We'll test spray it. I'm gonna do again the pastel. Trick. Run that through. And now we're gonna put the base, the clear base, into the cup. fair amount. I'm gonna need to order. I keep painting. Right, spray that until the base comes through. Make sure I got the red coming through it, which I do. It's nice and transparent. It's kind of, well, all right, let's just go over this nose with this red ochre. Just misting it on there very, very lightly. And that's your nose. There you go. Nobody knows. Let's do one more thing here. Because on the nose, it's a little more. Get a couple spots in here. And the more do a little touch and go looking, less looking like lines. All right. And let's remist onto the top of that. And there we go. Get this one over here. Not seeing, there we go. It was clogging up. There we go. That be that. Let's soften this. This is just a pencil eraser. Faber-Castell. Just taking down the dark just a little bit, touching, just to pick up a little pigment. On synthetic paper, this is a lot more aggressive. I need this to come down a wee bit more. Like that. Okay. And there's his nose. Okay. Now you've seen how I do this detail. I'm going to put you in time lapse. Sorry, I know you want to watch, but you know, I can't do a 20-hour video. No one's going to watch it again. So I'm just going to start working in here, scratching. I'm going to redefine some of these with scratching and color and go from there. Okay. So here we go, time lapse. Okay, I've gotten, I always say okay when I come in. I don't know why, that's strange. But I've got all my painting in here. I may go back and do a little more touch up for some areas, but at the moment I want to scratch in some of these whiskers and his eyebrows and such. So I mean, this is where I usually end up goofing something up and going, oh, but it's basically, I'm just gonna do them with the edge of this scratch tool. Okay, and there's some lighter ones. Don't follow the same path. And another thing this is when everything really comes to life. I always felt when I'm doing a tiger, is you get a couple eyebrows and such, or so you just gotta be careful. I don't want to jump the scratch tool. See, now I goofed. I went and stopped, and that's usually, there we go. They don't have to be exact to what the picture says, but I like to try to keep them close. Couple going up, crossing each other. I got the two going down. I really would like that to be cleaner, but I don't want to goof them up. And there's a couple real thin ones. Sure. There. All right, and we can clean up some of this from the Ochre spray. This is quite bright. And up here, I missed this. And then on the back of this one, you got some white. Alright, that's just some clay coming off. It's no big, nothing emergency, nothing. This actually comes in a little more. Like that. And maybe a couple highlighted ones in and about in here. I was debating. Couple highlighted ones up here. Really don't need too many. Alright, now the dreaded part. Putting in some of these. I'm gonna turn my board to make it easier. So out of this one, out of this. Got one like that. We got one coming off under here, and it's a big one. Curls like that, or something like that, it doesn't matter. Like I said. I'm trying to be real careful. Because if you wiggle your hand, you can jump. Now, then you got a goofy whisker. Okay, we got it. Let's leave that. I'm not gonna touch that. It's already. A couple coming out. And let's get this one. Put one there. Maybe a couple little thin whiskers. Alright, now we got a couple more long ones over here. These are coming more straight down. And do one that way. And we got a light one going. Maybe 2 or 3. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble for something I just heard your father said. Alright. Let's see, any more? Sometimes there's black eyelashes or whiskers, whatever you want to call them. Put a couple highlights in here. And then maybe open up this a couple times. Just give a couple bright highlights. Kind of like that. Let me take a look. I think we could call it finished. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. I mean, if I see something else I want to change around, I certainly can. And there we have it. Finished piece. I hate the way that light glares on it, but looked better down. I get the glare marks. But anyways, there is the, I think we're finished. I really hope you've enjoyed this teaching video on using Scratchbord and illustration paints. In this case, it was E'Tac EFX, a little bit of India ink here and there, but I think we're good to go. So I'm glad you could join me, and I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something. God bless you all. Take care, and we will talk again. God bless.